Hi guys, welcome back to the UK and Ireland tour. My name is Chris, aka Big Will, and today we have our full-on welcome to Hibernian, and we also have our first game in charge away from home against St Mirren. Obviously, we took over at the club yesterday. Didn't really get into a lot of the nooks and crannies about the squad or anything like that, but today that is what we're looking at doing. We're already in the process of selling one or two players as well. They're players that have got slight concerns about their contractual rights in terms of work permits, etc. So we've just decided to sell them. And at the end of the day, it will allow us to get some money back into the club's coffers. And it might allow us just to be a little bit maneuverable in the January transfer window just to see exactly what we need. In terms of the starting 11, this is what I'm looking at the moment. And as you can see, we've got a very good range of quality in the squad, around 2.5 to 3.5 star of quality in certain positions. And overall, I'm pretty impressed with the squad that they've got. The fact that they're doing as bad as they are in the Scottish Premiership at the moment is a bit of a strange one. But again, it could purely be down to a tactical thing. I did want to carry on using the 4-4-2 that we used at Britain Ferry and Crusaders, but we don't really have the personnel for it. In terms of the actual wide players, they're all attacking wide players, which is why we've gone for the attacking wingers as inside forwards, and a lot of them also do play as strikers. So, in terms of versatility, we needed the front three, which is why we've gone for this setup with the 4-3-3 with that holding playmaker in there as well. I'm not too sure how it'll work out in the context of what they were playing before or anything like that. But of course, it'll take time, and we are going to have to find our way a little bit with this squad. There's a number of very experienced players in the squad, one or two youngsters that have come through the academy as well. In terms of transfers and offering new contracts, we can't do anything like it at the moment because of the financial situation. So they've given us 180,000 in terms of scouting budget, which is fine. I've not got a problem with that at all. Apart from the club is already overspending on that by £22,000. We can get the transfer budget over there and get rid of some of that, but as you can imagine, it is proving quite difficult. I want to keep the scouting budget there. We do want to be scouting world football for top young talents. That is the ideal situation that we're looking for. But in overall finances, the club is in serious trouble. £7.5 million in debt at the moment. Obviously, it's a fully professional team. It's the first time we've had this so far in this save. Crusaders and Britain Ferry both, of course, were semi-professional. So we've got a lot to work with, but at the same time, we need to make money before we can start spending it. And like I say, we're £22,000 overspent in terms of wage budget. The lineup that you saw just a moment ago, I think that this is there or thereabouts going to be our best lineup. We've got some good young Scottish talent that have come through the academy already in the squad. One or two were signed as well. Um, but in relation to overall quality, I'm pretty pleased. In terms of quality of the players that we've not picked, obviously, as you can see, we've got a couple of players there that we're looking at selling. And Ianis Hadji is actually the highest paid player at the club. He is going to be going to Saudi Arabia for a £3 million deal, one way or another. He's currently on 18 grand a week. So again, that's nearly the wage budget sorted in that regard. So Elio Mata, he is wanted by a couple of clubs as well. We've transfer listed him also. He's not a massive money, but again, he is a work permit concern. Likewise, Tomoki Iwata, who is a key centre back at the club, incidentally. But again, even though he's got good quality, he's on 8 grand a week, and he is wanted by other clubs as well. So it's probably best that we sell him and try and work out exactly what we're going to do from a financial perspective. In terms of the overall form of the squad so far this season, obviously I've only picked the standard first 11 that I'm looking at the moment. We promoted a couple of players from the reserves, which are largely the backup goalkeepers. Joel Drommel was the only keeper in the first team squad, so Kenan Jusic we've promoted from the reserves, and Murray Johnson, who's been here for quite some time, he has been promoted to the squad as well. And to be honest, I'm looking at Murray Johnson's valuation and looking at his attributes and quality. He's someone we would probably look to sell. In all honesty, he's got good potential, but for that amount of money, considering the financial situation at the club, we've got to be a little bit careful. Stephen Walsh is someone that we want to be playing regularly as well, but he is currently out injured. But again, his valuation, 15 to 16.5 million pounds, a real top quality centre back. It's not an awful lot of money wage wise, but if we can make that amount of money in a transfer fee, we'll clear the whole debt at this football club. Jack Kingdom we brought in from the reserves. I like him, in all honesty. He's only 2 star of quality. His contract expires at the end of this season. We're going to give him a chance. He's got a good amount of pace, good determination. Defensive attributes not too bad, and he's 6'2", so he could be a decent defender for us. Fard Mufi, very good right back, but again, 32 years of age. We've got to look at starting to change the ship a little bit here. Obviously, we build our squads with young players, as you know. We've done it at Britain Ferry, and we've done it at Crusaders, and that is something that's definitely going to be on the cards here. Iwata, I've already mentioned, we're going to look to sell the 31-year-old Japanese international. Liam Morrison, he wants a new contract. We did just try and offer him one. We can't sort it at the moment, so we need to sort the wages out before we can get him to sign a new contract. But again, excellent defender, Scottish under-21 international formerly. Never made the big step up to the Scotland squad, but 6'2", very good defender. He is a guy that I want to keep here. Lewis Miller, 28-year-old Australian, 6 caps for the senior side. He's a decent wing-back option, can play both sides as well. Preferred foot is his right, so largely he'll be on the right-hand side. But again, very solid valuation for what I would term as quite an average player. Alexander Azevedo, a German, formerly under-18 international. Again, good, strong left back, very quick as well. So he's a guy that we will definitely be looking to keep around and try and build the defence around as well. Defensive attributes not the best, but he will be very dangerous in an attacking threat. We move on to the midfield, and I'm quite excited by the midfield that they've got, in all honesty. Dylan Levitt, Welsh international, 27 years of age, excellent valuation. And again, he's wanted by some Saudi Arabian clubs. If it comes to having to sell one or two of these players, we are going to have to. Again, given the financial situation at the club, it is something that we may have to try and work with. But again, a very good central midfield player in him. Sully Almeida, we're going to try and offload. Again, he's getting on a bit at 34 years of age. He's a very good player still, but again, he will not get a work permit for a renewal potentially. So it's someone that we are, again, looking to move on. Diamande, very much the highlight of this squad. An Ivorian international, 12 caps and 2 goals. He's not the highest valued player at the club, but he is very much a star player. And overall attributes are fantastic for a side like Hibernian to have. Nathan Summers, we brought in actually from our under-18 squad. He's capped 4 times for the under-21 Scotland team, 17 years of age, excellent valuation. Really excited by him. Excellent technique and passing ability, good determination, decent physical attributes as well. Could be a player that we make use of throughout the course of the season. Likewise, 19-year-old Barclay Nish, again, very good basic attributes in there. Just needs a bit of game time just to settle himself into a rhythm. Again, he's out of contract at the end of this season, though. So there's a few players here that we are going to have to try and tie down. Brad Gunn's another one, 19-year-old central midfield player, capped at under 18 level, excellent central midfielder. Looking at these attributes overall, another player to keep an eye on. Jack Fletcher, who is actually someone we tried to sign for Crusaders last season. Again, excellent valuation. Doesn't really strike me with a lot of quality. 2.5 star of current ability with plenty of potential. He could become a good player, but again, we're not too sure which way it'll go for him. Obviously, we've got plenty of big decisions to make with this squad. We've only been here a week, if that. It's a similar situation for Divine Mukasa. Again, decent attributes overall, but can he make that big step to start playing regularly? He's considered a regular starter, but I think we've got better players in there. Yanis Hadji, formerly of Rangers. Again, we're going to be selling him for £3 million. He's out of contract at the end of the season. His contract, work permit, he wasn't sure if it would be renewed, so he wanted to leave. We're just going to let him go. He's the highest earner at the club, massive wage budget reduction, and for £3 million, that is nearly half of the club's debt that would be cleared as well. Luke McGowan, he'll be a good rotation option, 30 years of age, decent finisher and very determined character as well with a good work rate. He could be very useful for us. Again, he's out of contract at the end of the season. A number of these players will be playing for their new deals. in all honesty. That's how it's really going to work for the course of this season. Dean Martin, again, another good youngster, someone again that I might want to keep around. Really good physical attributes, a lot of pace about him, good finisher, decent work rate and technique. And again, someone that we can potentially mould. Likewise, Mark Dunn. Bit of a strange one, Mark Dunn. He is a striker, but he's not a particularly good finisher. But again, very good technique. He's got particularly good vision as well. So it could be that he might be better suited to drop back a little bit into the midfield, maybe out wide as well. Decent physical attributes. And again, hopefully he's someone that we can make use of. Alamau's a 30-year-old Polish striker. Again, not too sure. He's on a lot of money. Um, and again, decent valuation. He could be someone that we might try and offload. But again, decent finisher, reasonable attributes all round, to be fair. But I think he's someone that we might end up trying to sell, despite him being one of the key players at the club. Ele Yuan, again, another very similar story for him. 29-year-old Frenchman, formerly capped at under 20 level. Again, quite a reasonably high wage. He's out of contract at the end of the season. We've got some big decisions to make. He's yet to score this season, and he's a striker. He has been playing out wide as well, but again, bit of a concern there. And Lewis Mullen, again, a very good young Scottish striker. He's actually made the step into the Scottish national team, and again, out of contract in a couple of years, fortunately. So he's one that is tied down. But again, we've got to try and mould these youngsters into the squad. Overall, I'm very impressed with the squad that we've got. I think there is some movement that needs to be done, especially in the way of outgoings. And if we do sell players for good amounts of money, free transfers are going to be the way to go just to get the club on a sure financial footing again. We are scouting all of the Crusaders squad just to get an idea of where they'd rank amongst our squad here at Hibernian. But there are one or two of them that I would like to sign. It's going to be a case of when we can sign them. We haven't got a lot of transfer budget. Obviously, January transfer window is coming up soon. And a lot of the players were out of contract at the end of the season. We've already completely remodeled the backroom staff here at Hibernian as well. So again, it will take the players a little bit of time to get used to exactly how we want to do things. And in relation to the squad, as you can see, we're scouting all of them. But Kyle Hudlin has been transfer listed, which I think is ridiculous. He's been the top scorer in all competitions this season for us. And I think it's a big shame. And, you know, he could be a player that we might have been able to use elsewhere, but I think Hibernian's too big of a step up. One or two of the other players we might look at trying to bring in. I'm not too sure yet. And obviously, some of them we only signed this season, so they might not be too keen to discuss terms. But a lot of them are out of contract at the end of this season. So again, when it comes to January, we can potentially apply to get a few of them on free transfers. I mean, 2.5-star quality probably isn't good enough for us to try and bring in, but there's certainly options in the squad. I'm looking at the fullbacks largely. I mean, Luke Messam, he was brilliant, and he's the kind of player that I'd definitely like to try and bring in if I can. And again, we are scouting the whole team, and he is the kind of guy I want in. He's a very good young left back, the Englishman. Brooke Norton Cuffy again. He can play a range of positions. So again, he's another one that we might have a look at bringing in. But overall quality, is it good enough for the level that we've pushed up to? I'm not too sure. But Luke Messam definitely is one that I want to bring in. And Damien Rawdon is another one I'm not too sure of. Largely because of his physical attributes. His jumping reach and strength are fantastic, but he's not the quickest. He's a very determined character, good positional play, good defensive attributes. Again, I'm just not quite sure which of these lads would be able to make the step up to this level, but Luke Messam is definitely the one that I think I'd want to bring over from that team. And Trenioni maybe as well. He's a very good player, but again, is he worth that step up? I'm not sure. The other one, Elliot Walker. I would be very interested in bringing him in, but again, I don't know how he'd shape up to the rest of the squad. So it's something, again, we'll have to manage carefully. But as free transfers go, probably wouldn't be a bad effort. But we'll see how it goes in terms of the scouting, see how they all come back, and then we can push on from there. Luke Grant's another one even. Again, still very solid options. Um, so I'm reasonably happy with the squad. Backroom staff, we're pretty much full up now. Still waiting to replace one or two members of staff as well. But overall, I'm extremely pleased with what we managed to do with the backroom staff. And it's allowed us to be one of the best in the league for everything. Not quite for sports science, but physiotherapy, yes. The recruitment team is one of the best in the league. And the only thing that's lacking in terms of our general coaching is the goalkeeper and the people management. But I think overall, we're looking very, very good. And we'll see how it goes in our first game in charge, which is coming up now against St Mirren. So as you can see, currently sat in ninth place in the league after 14 games, 16 points. It's not where a Hibernian team should be, but there's only six to 8 points separating us from the European qualifying places. So there's plenty of opportunity yet this season for us to qualify. We're not going to challenge Rangers or Celtic this season. I don't think. I don't think we're good enough, in all honesty, at this stage. But the target is to avoid a relegation fight. I think we're going to be more than capable of doing such a thing, and it'll start today. A win against St Mirren would send us above them, and if we can do it convincingly, potentially above St Johnstone as well, depending on other results elsewhere. Um, I'm looking forward to the challenge now. Let's see how we do, and fingers crossed we can get off to a good start. So looking at the starting lineup, Drommel's going to start in goal. Miller, Otasawi, Morrison and Mufi are at the back with Levitt, Diamande and Gunn in the midfield three. Yuan and McGowan with Mullen up front. So a few changes to what I would have suggested. Azevedo would have been my starting left back initially. Obviously, I'm going with the staff for now, just to get a feel for who's going to be playing um, in terms of regularity. Dean Martin doesn't even make the squad in general. And obviously, Yanis Hadji and Iwata are on the bench, but they're going to be leaving. So I think it's probably wise that we get those lads off the bench. But I don't actually think, by the looks of it, we've got another defensive option. Oh, yeah, we've got Kingdon in there. So Iwata can come off from there. We'll get Summers on in there. We'll get Martin on in there for Hadji. I'm quite happy. Like I say, left back's a bit of a strange one. Both of them have got good quality. Ewan on the left is what I was thinking myself as well. Alamau up front, I was potentially going to go for him instead of Mullen. And Dean Martin on the right instead of McCowan, I was leaning towards. Midfield is there or thereabouts, correct. Levitt and Diamande switching places. And the back four, pretty much correct, apart from Miller and Acevedo. So not too far out. But let's see how we get on. I'm not too sure exactly where we'll shape up. I'm not entirely certain of what the other squads are looking like. But we're going for the aggressive style of play the way that we always have done. And hopefully it'll work for us. Obviously, in relation to the way the squad is at the moment, this is why we're shaping up with a 4-3-3. If we can go back to the 4-4-2 in a coming campaign, then we will do. But again, it's largely going to come down to how things work in the transfer window. And not even necessarily in January. I'm talking over the summer. It's going to be a much bigger project than I would have anticipated coming into at first, but I'm looking forward to the challenge. And St Mirren looking to start positively here with Triponez into Kenechukwu and now Barron plays it forward to Howarth. It's a good block by Morrison and it's out for a corner. So initial highlight from St Mirren there. We're looking a little bit rigid at the moment. Just need to loosen up a little bit and let the game flow. Barron looking for the delivery. It's comfortably cleared by Otasawi. And Yuan charging out, trying to get to this. And he comes forward, but nothing comes of it. Incidentally, we've actually been the better side so far. Possession just slightly in our favour. In terms of chances created, we're looking pretty good at the moment. Hopefully, we can convert it into goals. Because one thing I have found, especially with this pressing forward in recent saves, as well. It doesn't work as well as it used to. And he's doing a lot of running and he'll be putting the hard work in, but we might not get the goals to show for it. And we had a similar issue at Britain Ferry, I recall, as well, where we just couldn't find the back of the net with that one up front. And then we changed to the two, of course. But I'm looking at those match stats, and I'm extremely pleased with how this game's going. Um, but we just haven't found the back of the net. And obviously, it's going to be a case of building the confidence up in the squad a little bit. They managed to win their previous match before we took over. A last hurrah for the assistant coach, I would assume. He was the guy that took charge of it. Um, but I'm pretty pleased with the nature of how we're playing at the moment. We are going to demand a little bit more from the team just to see if we can push them on a little bit more, try and get that goal that will take us ahead. But at the minute, the forwards not doing their job. And Yuan, of course, yet to score this season. Mullen struggling as well. We're into the last 10 minutes. We are going to make some changes. Ewan can come off for Alamau. McCowan can come off for Dean Martin. And Mullen has been poor as well, really. We can do 5 substitutions, which is good. We have got a few players that are struggling fitness-wise, so we'll probably get Kingdon on at right back. Azevedo can come on at left back, and Diamande will take off as well. And we'll give Summers his debut in central midfield. And we'll see how we get on in these last 10 minutes. Obviously, it's going to be difficult to tell within 10 minutes if any of the subs will make a difference, and they obviously haven't. No extra chances made, but a solid performance. We only conceded the one attempt at goal. There was hardly any highlights, of course, but plenty of possession, good number of chances created. I think we're unlucky not to get a result today, but we need our goal scorers firing a little bit, and I think it's just going to be a case of building the confidence up in the squad, building the morale at the club up a little bit again. And at the end of the day, a point's a point, and we'll take it for sure. We're still within touching distance, and it's still early in the season. If we win 4 or 5 games on the bounce, we'll be looking quite good, I think. Yemain is another player. He's in our reserves, a 34-year-old Japanese player. We're just going to let him go on a free transfer again. He's on £5 a week, and there's a couple of players in the reserves like that that are veterans of the squad. They're just not playing, and that was that. Nathan Summers making his professional debut. Really good moment for him. He's the kind of player that we want to build this squad around, especially considering the nature of our youth academy. And Mohamed Diamande looks like we've got to pay a clause to Rangers for him when he plays his next match, which is a bit annoying because obviously the target is to sort the financial pressures out. But a 0-0 draw away from home against St Mirren, I think, is a reasonable result. It's a game we should be winning, really. They've actually only had 1 defeat in 7, 8, 9, 10. So they've only had 1 defeat in 10 games, which begs the question as to why the manager was sacked in the first place. So form's not actually been too bad, but saying that, they have only won 4 of them, and the other 5 have been draws. So form-wise, they're not actually playing that badly, but the start of the season was dreadful, wasn't it? I mean, loss after loss, 6 defeats in a row there. It's not good enough. I mean, the Viaplay Cup was in and amongst the friendlies, but they had 6 defeats in a row at the start of the season. Then all of a sudden, they started to play a bit better. But again, goals are very much a difficult thing to come by. Mohamed Diamande has been spearheading the charge, really. A goal in the draw, a goal in that victory, 1-0. A goal in the draw, a goal in the 2-0 win at Aberdeen, and a goal against St Johnstone. So there's a lot to say for it at the moment. The strikers are not goal scorers, it would appear. So we're going to have to make some big decisions and some big changes, I think, going forward. We'll probably get a number of games under our belts here, see exactly where we shape up. We'll probably come back for Aberdeen and Queen's Park at the end of December there. And then obviously we've got the January transfer window to come, and we'll get through all of that. And then we'll have a transfer roundup and come back for Kilmarnock and Livingston after that. But exciting times ahead. I'm not too disheartened with that 0-0 draw. It would have been nice to win, obviously. But positive signs. And we certainly have something to build on. So until next time, guys, thank you very much for your support. Please like, subscribe to the channel. It is all greatly appreciated. I will see you all next time. This is Big Will signing away.